Hi, everybody. Today we're talking about executive function, or rather, dysfunction. It's an issue we as autistics face on a regular basis, if not daily. I know I need to do something, and there are even things that I'm really excited about doing, but my body and my brain totally shut down. And no matter how much I want to or need to do something, I'm stuck. I'm frozen. I can't force or will myself into action. Have you experienced this too? It is so frustrating and has caused me great guilt and shame over the years. It's not procrastination and it isn't laziness. It is, wait for it, executive dysfunction. Today, we're going to explore what executive function is and how it shows up in our daily life. And I also want to talk about one of the main things I have found that helps me regain my executive function. If you're new, welcome. I'm Carol Jean and I'm autistic. I help other autistics understand the science and the why behind our neurodiverse brains, along with some easy how-tos and tips. So let's get started. I had the most incredible conversation yesterday with two of my new autistic friends. They're a couple on the spectrum, and we were chatting before our podcast interview yesterday for my new podcast, Mind Your Autistic Brain. If you haven't checked it out, be sure and check the show notes below and check out the two interviews that are up. They're really amazing. But while we were talking yesterday, the three of us realized together one of the things that we began learning as part of our late identified autistic journey was that there's a new vernacular. There's a whole new vocabulary. And younger autistics are aware of things like alexithymia or echolalia, and today's big topic, executive function. I just want to begin the conversation today and to share some basic information about executive function and what those challenges can be and when it can happen. I have a hypothesis that I'm working on regarding executive function from what I've observed in my own life and from conversations that I've had with my autistic friends. If you're new to your autism journey and learning the vernacular, here's what executive function is defined as a set of mental skills that include working memory, flexible thinking, and self-control. We use these skills every day to learn, work, and manage daily life. Trouble with executive function can make it hard to focus, follow directions, and handle emotions, among other things. So this is the definition that's out there. I hope that kind of helped clear it up a little bit. So to dive in it a little bit further, executive functioning skills help you get things done. These skills are controlled by an area of the brain called the frontal lobe. Executive function helps you do a few things. Here they are: manage time, pay attention, switch focus, plan and organize, remember details, do things based on your experience, and multitask. So when executive functioning isn't working as it should, your behavior is less controlled. This can affect your ability to work or go to school, do things independently, and even maintain relationships. I think all of those things are something that I have experienced in my life, and I'm sure maybe you can relate to this as well. I've noticed for myself that what other autistics have shared with me about their struggles with this issue as well is when we're exhausted, which is very often, our executive function declines or comes to a grinding halt. I noticed with myself that when I hit burnout, this is when my EF skills totally tank. I mean, completely. And the first time it happened, I thought I was losing my mind. I thought something was seriously wrong. I just couldn't do the things that I knew I was supposed to be doing or that I wanted to do. I just couldn't. I just couldn't. It was like I was paralyzed. Has this ever happened to you? Our brain shuts down for a reason. We've previously discussed that our brain, number one, seeks to protect us, and number two, it seeks energy efficiency. When we are not rested in all areas, not just through sleep, but through sensory rest, creative rest, social, mental, emotional, and spiritual rest, Our brain seeks to protect us and preserve the energy we do have for vital functions. I know that when I am not well rested, nothing seems to go well. I have to point out that I know when I'm tired, but until I actually started to experience rest in all these areas and became aware of needing rest, not just from sleep, I began to notice that my executive function challenges were so much better. It was pretty amazing because I knew I was tired, but I didn't know how tired I was until I started to get rest in all of these areas. It's like you can explain to, a fish what a tree looks like, but until the fish has actually gotten out of the water and gone up the tree, he has no idea, right? I mean, it's one of those things that you don't know what you don't know. I didn't know how tired I was until I started to get rest. I knew I was tired, but I didn't know how tired. Maybe you're in the same place I was. And I'm hoping that today is going to help you dive into finding another way to explore rest and regain some of those executive functioning skills that just vanish when we're really tired. One of the forms of rest is active physical rest. I want to share a few quick tips on active physical rest. Be sure to check out the video from week 7 on rest, and I'll link it above and at the end. There's a great link in the video description for a rest quiz, which will help you see where you're getting rest now and where you need to get more rest and in which area. It's very helpful. So make sure and check it out. So let's first talk about passive physical rest. It's one of two things. It's either the physical sleep or a nap. But today we're going to talk about active physical rest. And that can be dynamic stretching, breathing exercises, soaking in a hot bath, if water is something that relaxes and soothes you. Otherwise, no. Nature walks, stretching poses like yoga, or a stim. Do you stim? I do. I didn't even realize that I did until I became aware of the word stim. Some of the new vernacular things that us late identified autistics start to learn and figure out. These kinds of active physical rest release the tension in your muscles and restore calm to your body. Signs of physical rest deficit can be these. You lack the energy needed for physical tasks on your to-do list. You're tired but can't easily fall asleep. That's me a lot. You can find yourself getting sick or colds often. I used to get sinus infections all the time. You use substances to stay awake like caffeine or sugar, and to sleep. You use alcohol or maybe, melatonin or some other kind of sleeping medication. If you use your physical body throughout the day, you need physical rest to restore yourself, not just sleep. For example, if your job is very physically demanding, where you're walking all day, if you're a nurse or you're in a hospital or plenty of other jobs where you're walking from place to place, that's physically demanding. If you're an at-home mom and you have small children, there's a whole lot of bending and picking them up. There's a lot of movement and physical activity. If you have a desk job, those long hours sitting behind a desk and behind a computer screen, it taxes your physical body, and your neck, shoulders, upper back, and hands experience tension and fatigue. Becoming more aware of your physical signs of exhaustion takes practice. Being able to identify where you're holding stress or tension, it takes time. I found that meditation helps me do this, as does doing a quick body appraisal. So here's a tip in how and what a body appraisal is. So a body appraisal that I do is this. I stop and gently roll my neck like that, and then my shoulders, kind of see how they feel. Where is it like feeling tight? Is it sore? Do you have some, crunchiness, like my neck crunches? I will roll my ankles. I'll sit up straight in my chair and kind of elongate my spine. Take a deep breath and slowly exhale while noting how I feel physically. I open and close my jaw because I have TMJ, so this is a place that I often hold tension. Maybe you do too. Becoming more attuned to these signs in your body comes with awareness. And in the still, quiet moments you create to do a self check, you will begin to notice your body again. I say again because as children, we were very aware of our bodies. But as we grew older, the feedback we often received from our body observations were often dismissed as being nothing to worry about. So we were subconsciously learning that noticing our bodies so intimately wasn't good or that it was a sign of weakness. We learned to ignore and push aside, or worse, suffered in silence. No more. Today, that stops. Today, that changes. No more pushing through and falsely believing no pain, no gain. Part of being autistic is that we take in enormous amounts of sensory input. This is exhausting and can even cause us physical pain. Today, we're going to change how we think and feel about noticing our bodies and being observant of when we need rest and in what areas. Our stims aren't anything to be embarrassed about or to hide. They are an active form of rest for us, and it helps to balance our physical exhaustion and to regulate our internal anxiety. So, my dear friend, stim away proudly, knowing that that is your active form of rest and how we as autistics often re-energize ourselves. So, today's activity and tips. Ask yourself these questions. What activities cause you to feel energized from the active physical rest list of stretching, yoga, meditation, nature walks, or even a hot bath if you find water relaxing? Experiment with these. Try them out. Don't just do it once. Give it a time. Sometimes you have to do it several times. There was a study at the University of Georgia when they looked into exercise just 3 times a week for a short 20-minute period. They found that people were 65% more rested and energized. In over a 6-week check, the people that were in the participation group, at the end of the 6 weeks, when they went back and followed up with them, they were more rested. They had more energy from doing this passive physical rest. What stim creates a sense of calm and relaxation? I didn't even realize that I had a stim, but the more I learn and the more my autism vernacular increases, the more I recognize in myself and the more I understand. I rock back and forth from foot to foot. I even caught myself doing it in the bathroom the other day when I was putting my makeup on. I didn't even realize I was doing it. But as I've become more familiar with the terminology, the vocabulary, the vernacular of autism, I'm starting to put words and noticing things in my life. And maybe that's something that you're learning here today about executive function or dysfunction. You are wonderful just the way you are. And learning to reconnect and listen to your body without the subconscious interjection of past experiences interfering, it will allow you to feel your tension and recognize when and what form of rest will help you. You will begin to notice, like I did, that those days where exhaustion led to executive dysfunction, they're improving. Thank you for joining me today. Be sure to check out last week's video on rest if you haven't already, and take the rest quiz. If you're interested in additional content and one-on-one support, please join my Facebook group, The Socially Intelligent Autistic. Be sure and check out Mind Your Autistic Brain. We have 2 amazing interviews already out, and each Wednesday I'll be airing a new episode with an interview of another late identified adult autistic who will be sharing their journey, what's been great, what's been really hard, and what their best tip is. Because I want you to know you're not alone. And on this journey, we're here together. I didn't know to reach out and to look for other voices and other people when I first started. But as I became aware more of myself, I began to look outside and find those people who were ahead of me on the journey to help me out. And I want you to know that I'm here for you. And if you have a question, or if you just need to talk, please reach out. You can find me on Facebook in the Socially Intelligent Autistic Facebook group. You can find me on Instagram at socialautie, and you can find me on the web at socialautie.com. Take care and have a great day, friend.